Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to make part 7 of Rozeta. Rozeta is the Scheepjes cowl 2019, designed by Tatjana from Lillebjorn Crochet. In part 7 we're going to be extending these details, so we're going to be making these details, bringing them together, and we're going to be adding the last part of the mandala. And we're going to be starting to add corners. You're going to have 8 corners at the end of part 7. I'll take you through all the rounds that make up this part. To thank you for watching. Hope it's a useful video for you. Round 61, you have the right side of your work facing, color F on your hook if you have our tribe kit, and color G if you have a color crafter kit. I'm going to start with chain 1 and then 5 double crochets, and the first one is of course in the last stitch from the previous round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's an increase that's just been marked, so this is 5. This increase will actually only become relevant when you're all the way around, because then you're going to be making 3 more doubles here, and then this will be 8 stitches, because this stitch marker marks all repeats with 8 double crochets. But you don't need the stitch marker here anymore, so you can now take it out if you want, but you can also leave it there if it doesn't bother you. But at the end of the round you can all take them out anyway. So to start the repeat, we're going to do 2 front post double trebles around these 2 from 2 rows down. So this is exactly the same as we've done before. So twice over, and then take off 2, take off 2, take off 2, twice over, and around the next stitch. 2, 2, 2. Skipping 2 stitches to the back. Skip 2 stitches, and now you work 7 or 8 double crochets. If you have a piece of fabric where there's no increase, you see here there's not a stitch mark, there's no stitch marker here, there's no increase, you work 7 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. 7 doubles. This is the repeat unit. Go repeat this all the way around. So now we're going to start again with 2 front post double trebles around the next 2 stitches. That's 1 and 2. My next little bit of fabric here until the next treble is again only, there's no increase here, so only 7 doubles, and then do again the 2 front posts. And you're going to repeat that until you get here, and here you see I've marked there's an increase. That's also why you mark these increases, that between these 2 trebles you're going to do 8 doubles. So you'll have 7 doubles between the front post trebles, except, or the double trebles I should say, except if you have an increase, then there are 8 doubles. So 7 or 8 depending where you are, and then go all the way around. The repeat in this round is reasonably easy in the sense that it's very similar to what we've done 2 rows before. So go all the way around, and after your last 2 front post double trebles here, you're going to work 3 more doubles, and then close on the first stitch, so that's double there, and then change back to yarn A. Round 62, you have the wrong side facing, and we're going to start again with color A. Chain 2, which is not a stitch, and we start by working 13 trebles. The first one is of course in the last stitch worked in the previous round. So work 13 trebles, That's 3, 12 and 13. There we go. 13 trebles. We're now going to start the repeat. In the next stitch we're going to work an increase, 2 trebles, and this increase is in one of the front post stitches we made. If you look back, you see it's in that front post there. So an increase will always be in one of the 2 front post stitches, so that's a double check for you. And then after the increase we work 36, so it's quite a stretch, 36 trebles, and that you do all the way around. So it's an increase in a front post stitch and then 36 trebles. Repeat this until you've done your last increase, and then you'll work 23 more trebles before closing on the first stitch. When you close on the first stitch, you're going to swap back to color F or G if you have a color crafter kit. So go all the way around, 2 trebles and then 36. Round 63. In this round we're going to do similar to what we did here. You see those front post double trebles, going to be working very similar to those. First we're just going to slip stitch 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3. So we're just moving 3 positions. Now we're ready to start the repeat. I'm going to start with the front post double treble 2 together. And this is around this first front post double treble here, so the one that's to the left if you're right-handed and to the right if you're left-handed. So I'm going to take this one here, twice over for the double treble, under that post, pick it up, 2, 2, and then again twice over. And now we're just going to do the second one in the base of the stitch. Take off 2, take off 2, and then take off all loops on your hook. Skip 1 stitch to the back. You see, so I'm going to skip that stitch there, and then work 4 doubles. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 doubles. And again, now a front post double treble 2 together around this second one here, so it's that one there. So twice over, around the post, take off 2, take off 2, twice over, then in the base of that stitch, take off 2, take off 2. All the loops in one go. Skip 1 stitch to the back again, skipping a stitch, and now you work 3 doubles, so that's important, 3 doubles. 2 and 3. And now we're going to do the same as here. So again, a front post double treble 2 together around the next post. That's 1 and the second leg. Take them all off. Skipping 1 stitch to the back. So skipping 1 stitch, and now you work 4 doubles again. 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles. So you've done 4, 3, 4. Now again a front post double treble 2 together. 1, 2. And again the second one in the base of the stitch. 1, 2, take them all off. Skip one stitch to the back, that one there, and 4 doubles. 2, 3, 4. And this is your entire repeat that you're going to work all the way around. So you did the front post double treble, then you did 4 stitches, again a front post, and then 3, and then 4 again, and 4 doubles. So that's your rhythm, is 4, 3, 4, 4. So you're going to start again with this one, work a front post double treble here, 2 together, and then you're going to do 4 doubles, work that one here, and then you do 3 doubles. So that's your rhythm, 4, 3, 4, 4. Go all the way around. And here at the end, you're going to be working your last few double crochets over these slip stitches. You're going to be covering those slip stitches. And then you close on your first stitch. It's going to be this double treble 2 together here. You're going to close on that stitch. And then you swap to yarn A, which will be here to the back. So you're just going to have to bring it up a little bit. Then you swap to yarn A. Round 64, this is round here in yarn A. This is very similar to what we've done before, so I'm just going to talk you through it. You've got the back side facing, do a chain 2, which is not a stitch, there. And then in the first 26 stitches, work a treble. After those 26 stitches, here you have an increase, and that's the start of the repeat unit. So you work 2 trebles in 1 stitch, and then you work 37 trebles. 37 this time, so every time, every second round it's 1 increase. So an increase and then 37 trebles. Go all the way around, and when you get here, I've just got a stitch marker in that last stitch there. Going to close with a slip stitch and then work a few more stitches. So I'll just show you how to do that, but first go all the way around, so 26 trebles. Then you get an increase, and that's the start of your increase. So an increase and then 37 trebles. You'll finish your last bit with 11 trebles, and then you'll be at this point, and I'll just show you the last bit because we're going to do a few slip stitches here. When you're all the way around, going to close on the first stitch. So here's the chain 2. Let me take this first stitch, and you're going to close there with yarn A. So you're going to close with yarn A. Now we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 slip stitch and 2. There you go. And in this second stitch here, I'm just going to mark this stitch so I can find it when we turn. So that treble that I just made that last slip stitch, and I'm just going to mark that treble with a stitch marker. And now we're ready for the next round. So now we're going to turn our work, and then we're ready for round 65. Round 65, you have the right side of your work facing, and we're going to be making this point. It's going to be very similar to what we've done here. So on those 4 legs, we're going to be working a front post double treble 4 together. First we've got to change to yarn F or G. You've still got yarn A on your hook here, that last slip stitch. What we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 to yarn A. And yarn A it'll have a bit of distance there to bridge. Don't worry about that. It falls to the back. I'm just going to pull the slip stitch from yarn A tight, and then it becomes nice and neat there at the back. Start the first stitch, and the stitch marker is also a bit in the way, so just push that to the back and push yarn A to the back. Now I'm ready. Twice over. Then on the first leg here, for me it's the one, it's really, if you look at where you are right now, you're here, it's those 2, those are the 2 you're going to be working on. So the first one here before your current position, that leg. And once we've done the first stitch, it'll be easier because you'll actually be connected to the fabric. Now you've still got that loop a little bit loose there. Twice over, and then take the next one, and the slips and the stitch marker won't be in the way either. Twice over, and then come to the next, take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, and twice over, and then come to the last leg, take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops. You've got 5 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. And you see how you've now nicely brought this point together. We're going to skip 1 stitch, and the stitch that we're going to skip is the stitch that has the, I've just got my, is the stitch that has the stitch marker in it. So that's the one you're going to skip. And then the first, we're going to work 9 doubles, and the first of those 2 are going to be over the slip stitches. So just check where you're at. I'm going to open up this loop so you can just check where you're at. You see, that's the stitch marker there. So that's the stitch we're going to skip. So that's why we've marked this, so that you can see exactly where you're at. So that means here is going to be the first one. There's a stitch just next to it. So it's going to be that one there. Here that's going to be 1. And then the stitch after that's going to be here. And then we've covered those 2 slip stitches, and then we can go to that stitch for the next one. So it's a bit messy here, so just look exactly at where you're at. So I'm going to skip that stitch there, that one there, and then go to the stitch after. It's going to be here. That's 1, and then here's the chain 2. You're going to ignore that, but you're going to need that stitch next to it. See, that's 2. So you've got here's the chain 2, so you ignore that, and then this is 3. 3, and that was maybe the hardest bit, those first 2 stitches. So 3 here is again in an empty stitch. That's 3. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 doubles. There you go. And this little bit, I'm going to do that 2 more times because we need to do 3 times in total. So again, now I'm going to do the front post double treble 4 together, twice over. Now it's going to be easier because now you could just connect it to your work. You don't have the stitch markers anywhere. You can also remove that stitch marker now if you want, or you can leave it in, it's not in the way. And that's 2, 3, 4, and take them all off. Skip 1 stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping a stitch, and this is again the first of 9, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 doubles. And again, this was the second repeat, so a 3rd time. So again, a double treble 4 together, so twice over, around the first leg, twice over around the second leg. Like I said, we've done this before, so this should be familiar to you. The 3rd leg on the other side, and the 4th leg, and take them all off. Skipping a stitch to the back, just skip 1 stitch, and again 9 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9 doubles. There we go. So now you've got the repeat. You've done the full repeat 3 times. So you've got 1, 2, 3 times. Going to work again a double treble 4 together, skipping a stitch, but then only 8 doubles, and that's the difference between this last part, and that's why it's not the same all the way around. So front post double treble 4 together over the 4 legs, bring them to a nice point, and then you've got some amazing details on this mandala. Skipping a stitch, and now only 8 doubles. That's important here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doubles, and stop. And now you're at the point where you're going to start this entire process again. So your rhythm is a double treble 4 together, then 9 doubles, and again 9, 9, and then 8. So you're going to work all these double treble 4 togethers, and then the double crochets are 9, 9, 9, 8. So it's 3 times 9 and then 8. So you hold that rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, and then you work 8. Go all the way around, and then here you'll finish your last one with 8 doubles, and then you're going to change to yarn A. So you're going to close on this stitch, and yarn A is still here, so it's going to be easy. You're going to close on that one with yarn A, and when you're at the end of this round, you can actually also cut yarn F, so the color, and also yarn G, no matter which kit you have. So at the end of this round, you can cut this yarn, and then we'll continue with yarn A in the next round. Round 66, you've got the back side of your work facing, and I'm going to talk you through this round because it's very, very similar to everything we've done before. I'm going to start with a chain 2 and then work 4 trebles, so only 4. So you see here's a chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then work an increase, so that's 2 trebles in the same stitch, and then you work 38 trebles, and that's going to be your repeat, an increase and then 38 trebles. So you start with chain 2, 4 trebles, an increase, and 38. Go all the way around, and on your last few stitches, of course, you'll only work 34 trebles. Close on the first stitch, that's going to be, here's a chain 2, that's going to be there, and then you're going to change to a new color. You're going to change to color D. Now, so double check your kit exactly which color that is. And then in the next round, round 67, we'll have the right side facing again. Round 67, I have color D on my hook here. And actually this round is going to be very similar to the previous round, but only this time with the right side facing. I'm going to start with a chain 2. Now this is not a stitch, as it is always. And then in the first 59 stitches, now that's quite a stretch, so do count your stitches, work a treble. And there's not the first stitch, that's the slip stitch that I just pushed into. So this is the first stitch, which is the last stitch on the previous round. And there we go, I'm having trouble grabbing it. Let me just pull. Because I've attached a new thread, everything just opens up a bit, so just pull it all a bit tight. There we go. Okay, so that's 1, and then 2 and 3, and this, like I said, you're going to work 59. So I've just worked 3. Continue until you have 59. I'm going to make a jump in the video. I'm going to work the other stitches, and I'll see you after 59 stitches. I've done 59 trebles, and it's quite a stretch from the beginning here. 59 trebles, and then in the next stitch work 2 trebles. That's an increase. That's 1 and 2. And that's the repeat unit. Work that all the way around. So now again 59 trebles, count them, and then an increase, 2 trebles in 1 stitch. Repeat all the way around, and if all goes well, here in your last stitch, which is where you have the slip stitch join and the 2 chain, in that position you will work 2 trebles and then close on the first stitch, which is there, in that position, and then change to yarn A. You've still got yarn A here to the back, so then change to yarn A, and at that point you can also cut yarn D. So we're only working this one round in yarn D. Round 68. Now what's important is you have yarn A on your hook and you have the right side facing. You have the right side of your work facing. So we did not turn from the last round. The last round, round 67, was also right side facing. So keep your right side up. This round the repeat is rather short, but the round of course is long. But I'll show you the repeat. Chain 1. Now this is not a stitch. And then the repeat is 5 double crochets and a front post double treble. Now 5 doubles. So the first stitch is in that stitch where the slip stitch join is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go, 5 doubles. And now we're going to do a front post double treble around also the stitches from round A here, and we're going to make these front post double trebles, and you're going to have to make an estimate where you put that stitch to get it straight. Remember, we've done that before, so you kind of make an estimate. So I'm going to twice over. I'm going to take this stitch here, so you can take that stitch or that stitch or that stitch, whichever one you feel gives you the straightest post, and it won't always necessarily be the same stitch, kind of depends on where your increases are. So that was a front post double treble, and I'm happy with this. That's a nice and straight post. Skip 1 stitch to the back, so you skip a stitch and repeat. So that's 5 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, 5 doubles, and again a front post double treble. And I'm going to make it around this stitch here, twice over. So then come 2 rows down to where you have color A, and then complete this stitch and skip a stitch to the back, and that's it. So now I've done the repeat 2 times with you plus 1 stitch. I'm going to do this I believe 70 or 80 more times. Come all the way around, and then here at the end you're going to work your last front post double treble, skip a stitch, and then close on the first stitch. It's going to be this stitch here with a slip stitch, and you're going to do that with color A, so leave color A attached, and the next round is also with color A. Round 69, this is the last round of this part 7, and in this round we're going to start shaping our octagon. Now we still have yarn A on our hook, and this round we're going to continue with yarn A. Chain 1, which is not a stitch, and now in the first 20 stitches do a double crochet. So the first one is here in the stitch where you have the chain 1 and the join. So that's 1 and 2. You're going to do 20. 3, 4, 5, 20. There you go. 20 double crochets, followed by 5 half trebles. 5 half trebles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. 5 half trebles, and now 15 trebles. So in the next stitch is 15. This 1, 2, you'll work 15. 3, 15. Oops, again. 15 trebles. In the next stitch we're going to work a new corner. Now this is going to be the first of several corners. So in the next stitch is a treble, chain 2, and a treble in the same stitch. So that's a new corner work there. Also mark this corner with a stitch marker. You have all your corners, so you're going to mark your corners. So now for the next, well, straight edge. It's not straight yet, but we're going to work on it. 15 trebles. That's 1, 2, this is 3, you're going to work 15, 4, 15. There you go, 15 trebles since the corner. Followed now by 5 half trebles. Only 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go, 5 half trebles. And I'm going to work a very long stretch, 51 double crochets. I really do count these stitches. So 51 double crochets. And I will edit this out, because watching me do 51 double crochets is maybe not so exciting. 51. Now I've just counted them. These are 51 double crochets, so make sure you count them. On the next 5 stitches, a half treble. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half trebles, and then on the next 15 stitches work a double, a treble. That's 1, this is 2, and continue until you have 15, 3, 15, 15 trebles. In the next stitch we work a corner again. So this is treble, chain 2, and a treble. And again mark that corner with a stitch marker. Now we're going to go back down and work 15 trebles again. That's 1, 2, 15 trebles, and that won't surprise you, 5 half trebles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half trebles, and now you're going to work 30 double crochets, so only 30. And when you're at the end of the 30, I'll explain why. This is 3, 4, you're going to work 30, and again count them, and that's 30 double crochets. At this point you're at the end of the repeat. That means you're not going to do exactly everything we've done 3 more times. So that means you're not going to start with 20 double crochets, because that's how we started the repeat. And that means you'll have a stretch here of 50 double crochets. These 30 we just did, plus 20 from the start of the repeat. That means between corners you're going to have either 50 or 51 double crochets. Now that's correct, so don't stress about that you think, oh, my stitch count isn't the same between the corners. That's correct. So you have either 30 and 20 or 51. So keep track of your repeats, that you have alternating 51, 50 double crochets between your corners. So keep track, and that's also a good reason to mark your corners, and then keep track of where you have the 50 and where you have the 51 double crochets. They should be alternating. And then when you get to the beginning, which I can't find right now, you're going to end with, of course, these 30 double crochets, and then close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. And then you can actually also fasten off. You can cut yarn A and fasten off, because then we're finished with this part. And when you've finished your blanket, you've got these lovely details on the outer edge. So we're now finished with part 7. If you want to, you can block your blanket. You've got these ever so slight, you've got 8 of these corners, so you can use those as reference points to block your blanket. Or you can just leave it, and we'll continue next week with part 8. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you then.